Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. I'm your host, Eleazar. Today, Jesse is here to continue our descent into Pinhead's world with Hellraiser Hellseeker, a movie that feels like it might be missing a few pieces from the puzzle box. Is Trevor losing his memory or his sanity? How did Ashley Laurence make her return to the franchise? And what new Cenobites crawl out of the shadows this time? If you dare follow us, all our links are in the description. Next week on the podcast, Sinners. But until then, a movie that reminds us sometimes the biggest mystery isn't the puzzle box, it's how Trevor is getting all these women throwing themselves at him. Hellraiser Hellseeker. Hello everybody, welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. This is your host Eleazar. I'm joined again by co-host Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Pretty good.
All right, today we're covering Hellraiser Hellseeker, aka Hellraiser 6. It came out in 2002. It was 80-90 minutes long, and it's the first of the Rick Boda trilogy. He directed 3 Hellraiser films, and this is the first one. He's also known for making Curse of Chucky, Sharktopus, A Haunting of Salem, Scary Movie 4, and he's worked on TV shows like Supernatural. It also stars Dean Winters as Trevor, who is from Oz and 30 Rock, but I know him best from Law & Order SVU and as Mayhem in the insurance commercials. He's always causing the trouble and getting people into wrecks. It's got Ashley Laurence's second billing. I got excited about that. She's come back as Kirsty Cotton, and of course Douglas Bradley as Pinhead. It had a budget of about $3 million, and since it was direct-to-video, there's no box office in what it made. But they didn't stop making them, so it made somebody money.
Well, apparently.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about it before we go into it?
I sure am getting the feeling that, well, I mean, kind of like you just alluded to, right? That Hellraiser is starting to go over the hump, right? Like it's starting to get to the point where they're just not trying as hard anymore. But we'll see.
Sure. Okay. So the movie opens with a quote: "There's no greater sorrow than to recall happiness in times of misery."
And as soon as you read that, you think, wait, is this going to be another psychological one?
Yeah.
Instead of, yeah. But the intro music was pretty good. I kind of liked it. The kind of trash rock sort of sound.
Over the opening credits.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It kind of reminded me of when Bill and Ted were in the future in the first movie, and they're getting that like this slow rock kind of anthem played at them.
Yeah.
It gave me that same feeling. So I was like, oh, maybe this is just going to be a happy, loving film.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And very clearly, right when this movie starts, we once again see, let's see, is the acting going to be better than the other Hellraiser? Oh, no. It's the same old bad acting.
Yeah, but it's Kirsty Cotton and she's hot, which kind of forgives the acting, I think.
At this point, when I'm watching a Hellraiser movie, I am entirely expecting the acting is going to be
bad.
Corny. Yeah.
Oh, of course, right.
Because that's part of the experience.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because while that maintains true, there's a later sequel that has Henry Cavill, who's Superman, you know, and it's still bad acting.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he was a good actor and they're like, oh, excuse me, sir, you need to be worse at acting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is a Hellraiser movie, sir. Could you tone it down a little bit?
No, we need that more forced. Can you make it more forced?
There you go.
Go watch some William Shatner and see if you can.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So then we see a 1979 BMW. Inside is Kirsty herself. She's back. We haven't seen her since she made a small appearance in the third movie on this videotape they filmed to show her time during the mental institution stay. And the car is being driven by Kirsty Cotton's husband, Trevor, played by Dean Winters. Like all couples who are in love, they are tickle fighting while driving.
Yeah, I'm like, God, this is a great idea. Yeah, we haven't seen him before, right?
No.
I didn't think so.
From here on out, everybody besides Pinhead, for the most part, is new people. At least the characters we get are a new story.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Whether or not it's a recycled story.
But it is interesting that I thought it was kind of neat that they brought her back.
I do too. Yeah, so apparently the way they tell the story is there was a different character named Kirsty in the script of this movie, which they got, which was not a Hellraiser script, and they changed it to become a Hellraiser movie.
Yeah.
And Doug Bradley called up Ashley Laurence and was like, hey, there's a character in this movie called Kirsty. Would you like to be in this movie? Because I think it'd be fun to work with you again.
Yeah.
She said it was just supposed to be a small guest role, and they didn't really have too much time to rewrite it to make it fit the character. And under her impression, she's not playing the same character, but she's called Kirsty in a Hellraiser movie.
She's definitely playing the same. I mean, that's the reason. There's a very intense scene later on that works because it's her.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, I mean,
yeah. And there's a deleted scene that they took out, which you couldn't see on YouTube, which goes into her talking about the past characters from the old movies.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
yeah, it's like so. First of all, I was thinking the same thing as you. I'm like, this is a really smart idea having a tickle fight while you're driving. But then it gets even worse. He has like entire conversations. He's just staring at her, not at the road. And I would just think at some point, I'm just thinking like, does this guy even know he's driving?
That's what I'm saying. He is mayhem in the insurance commercials. He causes accidents on purpose. Who would put him in charge of driving a car?
Okay.
Right. Like, so sure. It fits his character. I know that's not the reason this is supposed to happen, but it totally fits.
Yeah.
So anyway, then they start making out, just like Margot and I covered a movie called The Strangers Chapter 1, where the couple's making out and a car honks at them because they're on the wrong side of the road. Although in that movie, they're totally still on the right side of the road. It's the other guy going crazy for no reason. This movie, they're definitely not on the right side of the road. They overcorrect. They go right into a lake. They start submerging underwater. Trevor gets out of the door, and for some reason the door locks as he gets out. He gets to the surface, yells for help. He dives back down. He can't open the door, get Kirsty out, and we watch her drown. And less than 5 minutes into this movie, they killed her. He's screaming no, so am I, because I thought I had Kirsty back in a Hellraiser movie. And I was like, who brings her back just to kill her?
Yeah, really. Well, that does kind of sound like The Shining, but...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Then he wakes up in a hospital.
And then he wakes up.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. He wakes up and then he wakes up.
Which would be a horrible drinking game. Because if every time he woke up, come to, or snaps out of a daydream, if we took a shot, we would be dead.
Very much so.
By the end of this movie.
But it's just, especially right at the beginning, I wasn't even sure why he wakes up twice, what that means.
Right. So he wakes up. He doesn't understand what was going on. He's confused. A beautiful blonde doctor named Dormir, who he refers to as Allison.
Which means sleeper, I would think, it seems like it's meant to mean sleeper in some romance language.
Right. And then so she gives him some drugs to relax him, but that knocks him out. And then we see the surgeon who is operating on his brain and sticks this giant needle in, who's going to sever the place in the brain that separates pleasure and pain. The surgeon is one of the Cenobites here. I think we also get a shot of Barbie, I think. But you see the Cenobites so little here in this movie.
Yeah.
And if you pause it, they really look good. So
really,
it's shocking that I
didn't pause it.
Right. So right. I mean, I've studied it. I watched it back a few times. They put a lot of design work into them, and you see them maybe some of them you might see a total of 10 seconds in the whole movie.
That's a pity.
Right. Yeah. So they cut into his skull. It's pretty graphic right off the bat.
But he doesn't seem to be in pain.
No.
Obviously, which kind of defeats the purpose of cutting someone's skull, I think.
Right, and it's the most graphic scene right here that the whole movie gives you.
And it's immediately not real.
Right.
Right, which immediately takes away some of the force of it.
Yeah, but it gives you this false, like, hey, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Right.
So then he wakes up again. I don't know if that's the third time.
Yeah, I think it's the third time.
Right, and Allison's there. She's played by Rachel Hayward. She was the senior airman in the first two-parter of Stargate SG-1, who the ghoul kidnapped, and because it was made by Showtime, there was the obligatory nudity that you have to have on every Showtime show, which doesn't fit in SG-1 at all, because it's such a family show.
Yeah, really.
But that's why I remember her, is from that one small role.
You remember some parts for more than others.
Yeah, I guess so. It didn't fit, though. It doesn't fit. Yes, I know she was nude, and that's what I remember, but it doesn't fit in this family show.
No, it really doesn't.
She asked Trevor if he still has any headaches. He asked if she is also a dream. So I'm thinking, okay. And rewatches, he understands this movie he's in. Because, yes, it's all a dream.
Yeah.
She asks if he's still hallucinating and tells them it's probably because of the morphine and lets them know that they need to do more tests before they figure out what the headaches are. Then Dr. Ambrose comes by and Allison explains that he checked into the ER the night before because of headaches. Allison thinks they should admit him, but Dr. Ambrose thinks that he should be released so they can free up the bed for other people and so he's not addicted to pain meds. Trevor looks at Dr. Ambrose and asks, where's Kirsty? Another voice replies saying, that's what I'd like to know. All three of them look over to see Detective Mike Lane, He's played by William S. Trevor, who was in Watchmen, Scary Movie 3, and Twilight Zone the movie. They go to the hallway. Trevor's asking Detective Lang what he means by she's missing. He says that don't worry, we're not giving up looking for her. Trevor asks him if they went back to the crash site, if he could help him find her, and the detective tells him that they already did that a month ago. And Trevor just doesn't remember the last month.
And already at this point, I'm thinking like, okay, so memory loss, whatever, is this just going to be a retread of the previous movie?
Yeah.
You know, Hellraiser 5?
Exactly.
Is he already dead and he's already in hell? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm immediately wondering that right at the beginning, I think is kind of a failure, right?
Right. And so I would say that other franchises that repeat the same gimmick, like Saw, will wait a few movies till you think, oh, wait, because the next movie after gimmick happens, I think it's the same gimmick, but I'm completely wrong and they fool me.
Right.
And then the next movie, I'm still wrong. By the third movie, I don't think it's that gimmick, and then they pull it again.
Exactly.
I'm like, they got me again.
Yeah.
But this movie, by releasing 2 in a row, it was bad, and I almost wonder if this movie came out 8th, if we would have enjoyed it more.
I don't know. It did feel a little derivative of Hellraiser 5, especially right here at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, so he tells Trevor that he reported that she tried to escape out of the passenger side, but the doors were locked. But when they pulled the car out of the water, they're telling him that the doors were unlocked. Trevor says maybe Kirsty swam away, and Lang doesn't seem to believe that. We cut to Trevor on a bus, which he spends a lot of time in this movie on a bus. We get a big tattooed guy with a shaved head and face piercings who's playing loud music on a boombox. Trevor asks if he wouldn't mind turning that down, and the guy just cranks it up to get louder. But he doesn't have Spock on his side.
I was about to say.
To nerve pinch him.
Yeah, he doesn't give him the neck pinch.
Right?
It's just straight up cribbed from Star Trek 4.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Which is funny because you have the poster right there.
I do.
In his apartment, he looks at a photo of his wife while he remembers a time where they were getting hot and heavy in bed. And for a while there, all the memories of Kirsty are just memories of having sex. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. I mean, I get it.
This is a Hellraiser movie.
They're like, we're going to need her in some sex scenes.
Yeah.
The next day, he's at work at the MDSI building, where his coworker Brett asked him what happened to him yesterday, adding that the boss came by and she didn't look very happy that he was gone. Brett is played by Trevor White, which doesn't confuse me at all that the other character's named Trevor, but the actor that plays this character's named Trevor.
Yeah.
But the only thing I knew him from was the Doctor Who episode where he played the bus driver that got Rosa Parks arrested. So he likes to play people that people do not like. So, without Trevor saying anything, Brett is convinced that Trevor went to go get laid, but tells him he doesn't care. But Brett needs him to get to some numbers going because the bosses are looking. Who he refers to the bosses as elves and points up to a camera saying they're always watching.
The cameras, I feel like, are kind of a theme.
Yeah.
Like, we keep seeing cameras and they keep pointing them out, and it does create a sense of, I guess, paranoia, like you're always being watched. I guess that's sort of the point of that. But another thing worth pointing out here is that Brett is immediately unlikable in a way I can't quite put my finger on.
Sure.
Like, I'm not sure what it is about the way he delivers the lines or whatever, but he does a good job of making you hate him, but not sure why you hate him yet.
Yeah, okay. He's got a punchable face.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Trevor looks around the desk and he finds a little business card, all problems solved, in all capital letters. This gives him a headache and a flashback of him holding the card and crossing the street, and he goes into a factory and then down into a basement. In one room, he sees 2 women sewing with what looks like a lot of bugs around them, I think. And another person looks like he's wearing a pair of fake breasts in another room.
Yeah, it's weird. Very strange.
Yeah. He makes it to the next room, which looks like an apothecary to me. He looks into a case, and a character credited as Merchant tells him that he can see into his soul. He wakes up, because that's what he does in this movie, or at least snaps out of a memory when Brett stands over the divider of his station, telling him that 65% of headaches are caused by low blood sugar, and he should go get himself a cookie. At the vending machine...
It's always a good idea.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I like cookies.
Yeah.
Websites are always asking, do you want cookies? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I like cookies.
And then they never give them to you.
Right, exactly. At the vending machine, his snack doesn't fall out. The light flickers, then he sees a soaking wet arm smack the inside of the glass, which scares him, which is a little drowning metaphor. Or, you know.
Yeah.
At this moment, his boss, Gwen, shows up, spins him towards her. She's played by Sarah Jane Reedman, who was in the X-Files I Want to Believe, which is the not good X-Files movie. At first, she acts like she's annoyed because she's trying to run a business before she starts getting rough with him, saying, "I know how you like it," before turning him back around and starts making out with him, which is weird.
Yeah, there's a lot weird. It's supposed to be a like BDSM dom sub relationship thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But he seems to be this like thing that women can't resist in this movie.
He kind of does, but they're I don't know, because they're implying that he already has an existing thing with all these women.
Right, but he doesn't remember them at all.
Right. But I mean, like, I don't know if it's that he's irresistible so much as just that he's really actively going out and finding, slutty women and getting them to be into him, right?
Right, okay.
I mean, it's not just random women are just coming to him.
You're
is what
right,
I'm
you're
saying. They're women who he's already somehow sort of seduced. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Trevor has a flashback in time where Kirsty is on top of him. Then he tells his boss that his wife just died. She says that's perfect and takes a little bit more time making out with him before he pushes her off, asking what she's doing. She says nothing that they have never done before, and she says they'll pick this up later. As she leaves, she tells him to get some fucking work done, motioning to the camera that they're watching, even though I thought she was the boss.
Well, yeah, okay, but I mean, she has a boss too, right?
Yeah, sure, okay. Back at the desk, he finds a video on his computer where she has her legs wrapped around his waist, and I can't tell if they're supposed to be fucking because his pants kind of still look on. I don't know.
I don't know that the details are all that important, but
yeah, they're in the act, I guess. He's worried about other people seeing this videotape, but no one else seems to notice. He then gets a phone call from Detective Lang and sees the article on his computer from where the car was pulled out of the river. At the police station, Detective Lang tells him that they haven't been able to find her yet, but now they suspect that foul play might have been involved. There are no skid marks on the road, and the car was in perfect working order, which leads them to believe that it was driven off the road intentionally. He says he doesn't remember anything, and Lang says that Trevor is on some pain meds, which might mess with his memory. Trevor then seems to stare off on the distance, then has a vivid memory of the event. Lang lets him go, and Trevor asks if he knows something he doesn't, and Lang says, at this point, you probably know more than we do. He adds that he may receive a call from either him or his partner, Detective Givens, then shakes his hand. He is dropped off by the bus, and it's nighttime. He stops by a dog that instantly starts barking and then cowering. Trevor asks him what's wrong, and the dog motions sort of behind him, and Trevor turns around to see across the street a masked, kind of serial killer looking guy.
It's like no face, yeah. I guess because of the mask, but
right, with a big trench coat on, so maybe he's a rapist.
I thought it was probably a Cenobite or something.
I think it is. We couldn't see it in this light.
Yeah.
He goes into his apartment, then looks out the window to see the man in the window across the street, similar to the last movie where he looked from one building to another and saw Cenobite.
Very similar.
He hides and looks again, which causes him to start choking. Then he hits the ground, spewing out water as if he's drowning. Then a CGI eel starts squirming its way out of his mouth, and it's like 3 feet long.
It's not supposed to happen. Just so you know, in general, it's not considered normal to suddenly cough up eels.
Yeah, even if you just ate sushi, they're most likely dead, and they're not 3 feet long.
Exactly.
And you got to chew.
So you would think he would be looking into the causes of this, but he doesn't seem to.
Not with all these hot women jumping all over him.
Well, that's true.
He's confused, yeah.
Yeah.
Then a knock comes at the door. He comes out of his hallucinations, still standing by the window. The woman at the door is in her 20s. She's got this like high-cut shirt and these low-cut shorts, and she shows him this tattoo that she got on her belly. This is yet another attractive woman in his life that looks like he is already having sex with. Her name is Tawny, and she is his neighbor, played by Jodie Thompson of the 4400. He tells her he's having a weird day. She says okay, but if he wants to talk or whatever, he knows where she is. She turns around, rubbing her hands on her butt, which shows what he's looking at, and then stops, waiting for him to change his mind. She asks if he's okay, and he says not at all, and she laughs like it's the funniest thing anyone has ever said.
Yeah.
He goes to have a look in the closet. He has a memory of Kirsty that doesn't involve sex, and it's them at dinner. He pulls down a box of VHS tapes with all handwritten labels on them. We do see a revolver on the top shelf. He pulls out a tape labeled Our Crazy Wedding / Honeymoon. On the tape are actually their 5-year anniversary, and he tells her he has a gift for her, even though she just wants him to come to bed. he brings over a box-shaped wrapped gift, which in this universe can only be one thing.
Yep.
She says it's beautiful, and she's genuinely happy until she sees what it is. She opens it and to see that it's the lament configuration. Her happiness is gone. She asks where he got it. On the tape, he asks her if she can open it, and we cut to current Trevor hearing a knock on the door. The tape seems to glitch, and it's back to before she opened it again, and this time the dialogue is different than when we saw it before, so I don't know how that would work.
It seems like his memories are changing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got that impression throughout this movie. His memories are kind of rewriting themselves, and at some point you're not quite sure which one is the right one or which one is what to believe. And I think that's really scary. Just it's a good theme that's present in a lot of horror things. If your own mind is screwing with you, you can't. What can you trust, right?
Sure.
It's like a nice way to keep us off balance. But again, kind of a callback to the last movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. He walks down the hall, then goes back in to lock his doors. He turns around and his boss is there. He asks her why she is barely wearing any clothes, and she tells him that this innocent bit is getting a little old. She quickly takes charge in a dominatrix way and asks where it is, saying that he normally has it up by now. Since she's stepping in his crotch, we are meant to think she means an erection, but then we cut to her walking and setting up a camera to record them.
Which is surely what he was talking about. Yeah.
Right.
What she was talking about.
What she was talking about, yeah. But then she starts it, keeps going. He pushes her off of him. She's in disbelief. She tells him that he has a screw loose, and when she's leaving, she tells him you could say goodbye to that promotion. He is shocked to see that the video seems to still be recording them, even though she's not there. He waves his hand in front of it to show that it's a live feed, even though neither of them are in that chair.
But what you're saying is the video is still showing both of them
right
on the screen, even though she isn't there. Yeah.
Yeah. He zooms in, and then the footage shows two Cenobites who show up, have plastic wrapped around her head, and are killing her.
Not sure what that means either.
Yeah. Of course, he wakes up again at the office, screaming loudly. Then Brett is there telling him that it must be nice to get paid to do nothing. I think we all work with those people.
Yeah.
Trevor tries to explain that some weirdly weird shit is going on, and that results with Brett hooking him up with the address of someone that knows exactly what he needs to fix him. He walks away and tells Trevor, look busy. So then we cut to him at the address where he's lying on a table while a woman uses an ice pick to get chunks of ice out. Her name is Sage, and she's going to give him acupuncture.
Of course, it's acupuncture.
Right.
What could be more in keeping with the Hellraiser aesthetic than acupuncture?
Right. It reminds me of Final Destination 4.
Yeah.
I think it was 4. It might have been 5. Whatever.
It's just funny because if you're in hell and you're dreaming someone helping you, how are they going to help you? By stabbing you with sharp objects. I just think it's kind of funny.
Lots of sharp objects.
Yeah.
She's played by Karen De Silva, who was the sonogram technician in Juno. That was all judgy. She asks if the headaches and the hallucination are linked, and he says that he's always had headaches since the accident, but yes, they do get worse when he sees those nightmares. When he says they seem real, she tells him that it's his subconscious trying to tell him something about his waking life. In front of him is a mirror, and when he asks what's this for, she tells him it's to look into his own soul.
That can't be a good idea.
Her saying this triggers a memory back at that apothecary-looking place where the merchant tells him that he can see into his soul. He continues saying that Trevor feels trapped in a marriage, and if you're willing to have no regrets, there's always a door that can be found. That's when I thought it was really obvious that I've heard this voice before, and that's because even with the long hair and goatee and one glass eyeball, this is the voice of Doug Bradley. So just like the last movie, he went to someone who had answers. It turned out to be Pinhead. In this one, they didn't even want to spend the money on a different actor. Wow. And who last time they used James Remar from the Warriors fame, I thought that would have been cool if they did that again and got someone like David Patrick Kelly, who was also in the Warriors, to play this weird looking guy because he looked kind of the part. And that would have been great, but that's just me because I like the Warriors.
And also, I feel like all this jumping around between different time periods and different versions of reality, I got confused pretty easily here.
Oh, sure.
Like, I definitely did not have the whole story sorted out in my head easily.
I also feel like it pads the runtime because when we get back to the set, we have to reintroduce it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, we're here again. I feel like if we had just played it straight, it would have been a lot shorter of a movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, So the merchant pulls out a sphere, saying that it was created by a guy named Le Marchand.
At least he's not lying. I mean,
Right? He rolls it towards him, and it transforms into a cube, which is still somehow rolls, and it's the puzzle box.
and I wasn't sure when they showed that. I felt like they were switching back and forth in a way that made it not clear if it was a corrupted memory. Like the guy gave him the puzzle box, but he at first thought he remembered it
Well,
as
that's
a sphere.
possible, yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh wait, no, it's not a sphere. It's a cube. It's like I wasn't sure if that's what they
Yeah,
were saying."
I like
but-
that interpretation. In present day, he hears Sage speaking, but when he turns, she isn't there. He lays patiently, and in the background, we see a full-size diagram of a human body, and everywhere he could poke it with acupuncture, which slowly starts to reveal Pinhead as he walks through it. And since it's a diagram of people with a bunch of pins in them, it's kind of neat. I like it. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
He walks towards Pinhead, and he pulls a full-size pin out of his head, which seems to grow in length, but unlike previous films, there's no worms attached to it. He sticks it in the back of his neck all the way through, asking Trevor which he finds more exhilarating, pleasure or pain. And I gotta say, I think it's pleasure.
Well,
but that's just me.
That I'm not
Yeah.
in agreement with you on that.
I
one.
got you. Okay. Not surprisingly, Pinhead tells Trevor that he prefers pain, and Trevor snaps out of this hallucination. There's no Pinhead or objects up through his neck. Sage asks if there's something wrong, which he says there isn't. Then his phone rings, which she goes to get. On the phone is Detective Givens, and we cut to him back at the police station, where Givens tells him that Kirsty was worth a lot because she inherited all of Larry's and Frank's money when they died, which makes sense. We talked about them seeming to have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We think that's why Julia stayed with Larry,
Uh-huh.
even though she was in love with Frank. Anyway, this is a shock to Trevor, who say they were barely getting by, but Givens thinks that he murdered Kirsty now for the money. And Givens is like the bad cop to Lang's good cop.
Yeah.
Trevor is at home again. He's watching the tape, and again the dialogue changes. Then he gets the idea to glance across the street at the window where the creepy guy was earlier, but he sees a woman taking off her top to reveal her breast, because if this is Hellraiser, at some point
Right.
they're going to show
has
some
to
breast.
Yeah.
Trevor waves hi to her like he's not a creep, and she pulls this thin curtain, which doesn't hide anything, to like stop him from viewing. He turns around and Tawny is there again. She asks if she can borrow something. He agrees to it, but then she comes over and says she wants him and starts to make out with him. He pushes her off, and then she says, "It's getting hot in here," starts to take off her clothes, literally ripping her top in half and asking him to use it to tie her up. So this time he finally gives in. He starts to make out with her, and she glitches into a Cenobite who pulls a contraption over Trevor's mouth and nose, which would stop him from breathing, and continues to screw a massive bolt into the contraption before shoving it all the way
Which
in.
is very cool. I like that part. It's maybe the only good torture-y scene.
It scared me. Yeah.
Also, like, at some point I'm wondering, like, how many versions of reality are there? Because it's like
19.
because it's like one thing when you have two different versions of a story and you keep going between them, but here there's way more than two, I think,
Oh, yeah.
and it's hard to keep track.
Sure. So I'd be shocked if you didn't know this was coming, but he wakes up.
Yeah.
This time in bed. He does have blood all over his hands, and then he goes out to find Tawny tied to a chair, dead. Well, that's not Kama Sutra, but maybe it's the Cenobite edition.
Yeah, I mean, dead is definitely a position.
Right. He goes to wash off his bloody hands, and the trifold mirror that he has, Pinhead shows up 3 times, telling him a message on the card earlier, all problems solved. Then it's gone, the blood's gone, Pinhead's gone, and when he goes out to look, so is Tawny. Just to make sure, he goes to her door to knock, and she answers. Then her very big boyfriend shows up, so he walks away when the boyfriend's like, "Hey, if you know Tawny, you better know me."
Yeah.
He should have just acted gay.
And another.
I actually came in to see you, big guy.
I'm not sure that wouldn't get him beat up.
That right? Yeah, right. Okay. Then he hears a voicemail being left by Detective Lang, and we cut to him back at the police station again. Lang asks him about his relationship with Gwen, who was his boss, and he sees Brett there talking to some other officers. He says that Gwen was just his boss, and they really don't talk that much before he leaves again. So I don't know why he came in to answer one question and then left. That's like not worth the trip. But as he walks out, he looks into an office at a man reading some pages, and for some reason, Trevor's fascinated by it. Then this seems to glitch back and forth, and the man has a large black piece of paper, which he uses origami to fold into a cube. Then he remembers more about the merchant telling him that once he chooses to open the box and unleash its power, there's no returning. He asks if he's willing to pay the price, and he drops a stack of $50 bills on the counter, but merchant pushes that back towards him, telling him the price is far greater. He takes the cube anyway, and then some bad CGI crows fly at him. He snaps out of a memory, ducking as if the crows are coming at him now, and Detective Lang is right next to him, asking if he's okay. At the hospital, he meets with Allison. He's telling her about what's going on, and he has a memory then of Allison walking in a sundress. Then at work, he sees Brett. He asks what he told the police, and then Trevor says that he needs help because the police think he did it. And right then, Lang is sitting there, but it's not like shocking because he didn't tell Trevor, hey, I did it. He said, the police think I did it, which is in no way damning.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's filmed like it's supposed to be. He shows him that he found a puzzle box near the crash site and also found blood on it, which matches the blood found in the car. Lang is playing good cop here, telling Trevor that he believes him, that he didn't do it. As he leaves, Trevor turns to look, and instead of seeing Lang, he sees Givens. Then Brett pops back over the divider, saying that they need to talk. In the lunchroom, Brett tells them he's going to quit, that he needs a job that pays more, adding that we all don't have wives that are cash cows. Then Trevor asks him what he means by that, and he talks about Kirsty Cotton's inheritance and the plan that they had, but he's very vague about it. Mm-hmm. Trevor is worried that he told the police something, but Brett, who's playing darts, lands a bullseye, causing Trevor pain, and he goes into a hallucination. He sees Kirsty drawing, him recording, and him giving her the present, which pisses her off, her asking how he could do that to them. Now, back out of the hallucination, Trevor cuts his hand at work, and he has to leave.
I have to wonder, based on her reaction, does that mean she had told him all about her experience with the puzzle box?
That's an idea, yeah. I've heard that idea.
And then he went out and got it and gave it to her as a gift? Like, that would be pretty sick, right?
It would be sick. Like, oh, these things are always chasing you. Let me get you this present, and that'll get rid of my problem.
Yeah, and I mean, there's more than one interpretation, I guess.
Yeah,
you don't
but
know
I like that
what
one.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that one. On the bus, he tries to call Allison, but he's told that she isn't there. He says that she's always there because she's a resident. But that isn't what being a resident doctor means.
Yeah.
A resident doctor is someone focusing on a certain specialty and training, such as surgery, pediatrics, or oncology.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean they live
at the
there.
Hospital, like.
Exactly. Oh god.
But again, I feel like silliness like this, I've come to associate it with the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah, exactly. So he pulls out the address of Sage, and we cut to him lying on the bed, this time face up, where Sage is saying there's nothing wrong with his body and that his pain he's experiencing is in his head. She tells him that he has locked his soul inside his body and needs to free it so they can heal his soul.
In other words, she's saying you need to kill yourself.
Maybe, right? I thought the soul belonged in your body. Yeah. She tells him the only way to give up is to give in and completely trust her. He says he doesn't know what's real anymore and doesn't even know who he can trust.
Yeah, freaking neither do we.
Right. So to convince him, she gets on top of him in cowgirl position, which is definitely how to earn my trust. I'm not going to lie. Just kidding. She takes off her robe and starts kissing him in his stomach, telling him to trust her and to surrender himself to her. And I'm like, dude, the acupuncture is still there. How are you being smashed on top of him, not hurting both of you?
Well, that's true. But at this point, too, this is where you may have more of a point about women throwing themselves at him, because this is not a prior relationship, right?
Well, they, later on, we're to believe that it was. That he had been going to her before and already had a sexual relationship with her, because this is supposed to be one of the 5 souls that Pinhead was promised.
Oh, that's right. Okay, when they at the very end.
But
yeah.
First time viewing, I felt like this was a new relationship.
Right.
That just a woman just threw herself on top of him.
Yeah, it did look like that, but
yeah.
You're right. In the end, they did reference.
Then we see her reach for the ice pick that she used earlier, and she stabs him, and we cut to him on the back of an ambulance. The paramedic asks if he remembers what happened, and he explains that a woman naked was on top of him trying to kill him. Both paramedics laugh, share a smile, and they're like, no, you were on a bus and you passed out. Do you remember this now? So at the hospital, Dr. Ambrose looks at his hand, and Trevor asks about Allison, but Ambrose says that they don't have anyone there named Allison because he knows the entire staff of the hospital. Mm-hmm. When an older nurse comes over to give him a shot to relax him, Trevor's over all this crap and gets up to go look for Allison. In the room she should be in, he finds a janitor who just smoking. He's like, "You caught me. I'm on a break. Can I at least finish this cigarette?" Which I think was hilarious. That's when Allison does show up, who has a whole conversation with him where he's worried and talks about some bad things that happens before the janitor's like, "Hey, buddy, who are you talking to?" And then we turn back to see that Allison was never there.
Yeah, which at this point isn't terribly surprising because they've already been pulling out reality from under us every other 20 seconds, right? So
right.
It's not, if that's supposed to have any impact, it fails.
Yeah. Well, he didn't sleep with her, so maybe that's why she doesn't exist.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. He runs to the bus. We have flashes where he remembering Kirsty having sex with him, fighting with him in the car from the opening, and where she tells him she knows about Gwen and the others. Some more random flashes and voices before he pulls out a card that reads, "All problems solved." So we're back to this factory. He makes it back to the apothecary, and it's been mostly cleared out. Then he hears Pinhead speaking to him. In the reflection, he finds Pinhead, and Pinhead tells him that soon he will have all the answers, but since it's only 60 minutes in the movie, I guess Pinhead wants Trevor to run around a little bit more.
Yeah.
Trevor accuses Pinhead of killing everybody, and Pinhead says the killer is among us, and from what I think I understand at the end of the movie, I think that is not true.
Yeah, but we're supposed to, in that moment, I think he's trying to imply that it's Trevor.
Right, okay, right. So he's lying.
I don't know how thoroughly they really thought this movie through when they wrote it, to be completely honest.
Sure.
But it does sound like, is this the part where it seems like he kind of remembers now, maybe the inheritance and the...
Yeah, I mean, he knows it exists, and he believes all the facts that people have told him, but I don't think he ever gets to a point where he remembers that it's true. It's just a bunch of people telling him this fact.
Well, I just mean it seems like he has a memory where he remembers, like the all problem solved thing, right? Right?
Yeah.
It looks kind of like maybe there he is remembering deciding to kill her or something, or looking for a way to kill her. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's hard to interpret.
Well, right here is where Brett shows up.
Yeah.
He's outside the factory. It's nighttime. He's with the gun, claiming that they had a deal where Trevor would kill Kirsty, make it look like she did it, and they would split the money, which isn't how a deal works, because Brett in no way would have contributed to this deal.
Right.
Brett then says he doesn't want to go to prison, puts the gun under his own chin, and pulls the trigger. Next, he goes back to Sage, and even though he thinks she tried to kill him, he goes in to find that ice pick is in her head.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, he stays there, pulls the ice pick out like a moron, or like the character from Final Destination 1.
No sense.
And is holding it when the cops show up.
And of course he is. Although at this point, you don't know that he didn't do it, right? Like,
yeah.
At this point, what I thought was going on was, he's gradually accepting the reality that he killed all these women, right? Like,
yeah.
He's just gradually coming to terms with, and they kind of hint at that because they say all this stuff about, are you starting to remember what you've done? I mean, I don't remember the exact lines, but
right.
Stuff to that effect. And so you think, he's remembering he's a murderer, and of course he's probably in hell, just like Hellraiser 5, and this is why he's in hell, because he murdered a bunch of people, I guess, whatever. I don't know.
So Lang tells him he doesn't want to hear it. He goes to interrogation. Then he's asking Trevor to explain himself. Then Lang gets a phone call. Trevor looks out to see some cops beating someone across the hall. Lang gets off the phone to tell Trevor they pulled a body from the river and they're going to ask Trevor to identify it. Lang leaves and Givens comes in telling Trevor that he wants him to tell him the same story he just told Lang, but he wants him to change one small detail, and he tells Trevor, "Don't fucking lie to me."
This whole thing with the cops, like especially with them beating people and everything, it seems to be suggestive of hell.
Yeah.
And I kind of wondered if the cops were supposed to represent the actual enforcers of hell sort of thing, like the actual, but I don't know, like they're a representation of the Cenobites.
I get it, yeah.
I don't know, just a thought.
Then two cops drag him from the desk where he gets to see a picture of himself labeled murder suspect and a bunch of photos of dead bodies. The other officers have vanished. When Lang comes back, he's telling him that each victim had a single shot to the head. Lang escorts him to where they go to identify the body, and he sees in an office of Lieutenant Hansen 2 officers with a guy strapped to a chair giving him electroshock therapy.
That'll do it.
Lang walks him to the basement, and in one room he sees a man in a straitjacket tied to a metal column, and he's gagged. We see a sign that says morgue.
Which is nice. I mean, there's not a whole lot of that kind of stuff in this movie, but there's a little bit here.
Right, yeah.
And it's all little brief shots, but...
It's a little like Hellraiser 2 with Dr. Chenard and his basement
Yes,
full of people.
exactly,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit of the authentic Hellraiser vibe here.
We see a sign that says morgue as they descend another level. Lang uncuffs him, unlocks a barred door. Once Trevor goes in, he closes the door on him. Trevor's confused, thinking Lang believed him, but Lang says that he believes that they have a lot in common and that they each have the sum of two different people. Trevor says that he knows who he is and he's not a killer. Lang says that he likes that he can deny it, but Lang shows them that he is two people. Lang starts twitching and a second head pops out as the head of Givens when we realize that we've never seen them on the screen at the same time.
But, I mean, what a weird scene, right?
It was a bad effect.
It was a bad effect, and then on top of that, I think this was the biggest example of terrible acting on the part of the actor playing Trevor, right? Is because, I mean, in this scene, you know, this guy's sprouting another head in graphic fashion, and he looks kind of mildly concerned.
That's different.
Right. He doesn't look shocked. He doesn't look disturbed. He doesn't really even look bothered. He just looks kind of like, huh.
That's different.
I didn't notice that before.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow, that's what you think someone's face would look like in this situation. Really, that slightly cocked eyebrow or whatever. Like, come on.
Maybe they didn't tell the actor what was going to happen, and so he never knew he was supposed to react.
Like he never understood until he watched the movie. And then he was
that's what they meant.
Oh, well, dang, I screwed that up.
Right. So Trevor continues down the hall and gets in a room where he pauses to see a dead guy whose face is ripped off and is hooked up by a bunch of chains like the first movie. He finally gets to the morgue, and inside are body parts in jars and a few pieces of human meat on a slab with hooks and maggots. He sees a lot more gross things before he actually gets to see a body covered by a sheet.
But again, none of these are for all that long or anything. Like,
sure.
It's a pretty short scene.
Right. He goes to pull his sheet back and tears up, but then the room starts to shake and turns into a massive earthquake, which I think symbolizes his reality collapsing on itself.
That makes sense.
Pinhead appears, telling him that he's reached the end of his journey, that his past has caught up to him, and he must atone. He reminds him that he was willing to pay the price, and he sees flashes of when he got the box. Trevor then just wants to see his wife, but Pinhead says, in time, again, because we're at the 75-minute mark, and we need another 10 minutes to be considered a full-length movie. Chains come up from the floor, hook on his body and face, because that's what happens in all Hellraiser movies.
Right.
Pinhead says all problems solved, but at first he needed him to open the door for Trevor. We see Pinhead was Merchant this whole time, in case some of us missed that voice.
Yeah.
Pinhead says that he will help him remember once and for all, and we see where Trevor gave Kirsty the box. Pinhead says that they were there watching. Kirsty says she thought he loved her and tells him that she hopes that what ends up happening is all he ever wanted. She then starts to open the box.
Which is surprising.
Which she would know how, though.
She would, but why would she do that?
Well, she had a plan, I think.
I guess she did, but like that's a high-risk plan. Like, why not just
not wrong?
Throw the box at his face and run away.
Okay, so if we're going to jump out real quick. In an interview that Ashley Laurence has given, she was under the impression that this is all a dream and none of it happened.
Yeah.
But that's not what is in the movie.
Yeah, I agreed.
So she thinks this was in her character because it was all a dream and none of it ever happened. But that's not what happened in the final edit.
Yeah, that's not what they're saying.
So, but she agrees that this is not what the character would do.
I have to think. Well, okay, I know that it's the case that this movie was revised many, many times by many different people and is a case of too many cooks on this script.
Sure.
But not only do I know that beforehand, but even if I hadn't known that, like, you can tell that in moments like this,
yes,
right? Like,
sure.
It really, you can feel there's, I mean, it's not so obvious that it's like makes no sense, but it is kind of a little bit like, it feels a little muddled.
So this next line is the only line that seems to go against the theory that Kirsty had told Trevor about the box, and he did it to be evil. Because Pinhead tells Trevor that he used him as bait to lure a far more interesting creature.
Yeah.
Then we see where Pinhead meets Kirsty at least the first time in this set of circumstances. In a room full of chains that are just hanging from the ceiling, he says that he wants her soul since she first opened the box. We see 3 other Cenobites join him, which are Chatterer 3, Bound, and Stitch. We don't get Surgeon back. Kirsty tells the Cenobites to wait because she wants a deal, and Pinhead is interested. Even though in part 1, he's like, okay, I'll take the deal. Part 2, he's like, no more deals. And this one's like, all right, what do you got? I'll take a deal.
Yeah.
But this matches her character because she makes deals.
That's what she does.
But she tells Pinhead that she's willing to bring him 5 souls in exchange for her. Pinhead tells Trevor that she chose his companions, which were Gwen, Tawny, and Sage, and adds that she added the man that was once conspired with him to kill her, which was Brett. And then that makes a total of 4, which means she would need 1 more, so he's the 5th person.
And it kind of makes sense. Okay, Pinhead's interested in Kirsty, but she's not worth 5 people, so he'll take the 5 people. Okay, I can buy that.
Right.
What is kind of surprising, I mean, it's not that surprising, but a little bit of me was like, well, that's kind of dark for Kirsty, right? Like,
I agree.
It's not totally impossible to imagine. I mean, she's been through a lot. She's
right.
But it seemed like a little much, but it didn't really bother me that much. When I looked it up later, I discovered there's a lot of people really mad about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. What makes it a little weird for me is I thought for the Cenobites to get you, they literally had to come and grab you and take you away to their hell.
Yeah.
But in this story, it would have us to believe, well, as long as the souls are promised to them and someone shoots you in the head, their soul is the Cenobites.
You could interpret it that way, but also point out the fact that every one of these people who was killed was doing something really bad.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, maybe you could argue, okay...
They're going to hell anyway.
Right. Like, they were hellbound, maybe not specifically to Pinhead's hell, right? But they were hellbound in some way, and maybe she kind of said, well, I'll just bring you these 5, and like, she can do that because they're not... What's her name from the Terrifier series? She doesn't have a magic sword and stuff, so these people can't just get out of it so easily.
Right. Sienna Shaw.
Yeah, Sienna.
So we see Trevor and Kirsty arguing in the car because he made a deal with Merchant, and Kirsty tells them that she made a better deal and he accepted the offer. She pulls out a gun pointed at him, and this is where we hear Pinhead say, "Welcome to your worst nightmare, reality." We hear the shot, which causes the car to go off the road. She swims to the surface while he dies in the car.
Which is like the 4th version of this scene that we've seen. So it's like, okay, I guess that's the real one, but Jesus.
Trevor's still in the morgue, and all the chains are gone. Finally, he pulls back the sheet to see himself on the slab.
Which is supposed to be shocking and really isn't.
Yeah. We all saw it coming.
And I think most of us probably saw it coming from like minute 5.
Yeah.
So...
Kirsty has a blanket wrapped around her. She's talking to Detective Lang while the car is being pulled up from the wreckage. She tells him that Trevor shot himself, and Lang says they found the gun, and if it matches the other murders, they'll know that Trevor was the killer. Dr. Ambrose is the coroner who examines Trevor's body, pulling out the massive eel. He tells them to zip up the body, and Dr. Allison Dormier runs over, apologizing for leaving him for a little bit, but says she's back. Which means she's been spending this whole movie talking to his dead body, which is why we get these visits from a character that doesn't exist in his old reality.
Right. But that's kind of interesting, too, the idea that if you talk to a dead body, you're like, it's like talking to someone who's dreaming. And
right.
That's kind of neat. That's creative.
I liked it. Yeah. Dr. Ambrose tells her he doesn't understand why she talks to cadavers, and she asks, what if there was no afterlife? Wouldn't you want someone to talk to you like you were a human being one last time?
And she was, from his point of view, she was like an angel of mercy, right? Like,
yep. Then Lang is letting Kirsty go. He stops her when he remembers the puzzle box. She tells him it was an anniversary gift, and he says, you know what, I was going to turn it over to evidence, but instead, why don't you keep it to have something to remember your husband by? Yeah. And while she's reluctant to take it, she can't tell the cops no.
Well, also, I think she doesn't want to leave it. Like, I mean, she needs to get rid of that fucking thing.
Yeah, this is true. Right, yeah. Oh, man. So, that was Hellraiser Hellseeker.
It was Hellraiser Hellseeker. I mean, I kind of alluded to this already, but I felt like they went pretty light on the gore and torture stuff compared to Hellraisers 1 through 4. And again, in many ways reminded me of Hellraiser 5. I mean, it was a very similar plot, very similar story, and it was all about this abstract psychological torture. And I hope the series isn't getting away from the good old gore fest, blood spurt kind of crap.
I will say that you're going to get a lot of it in 7. 8 is definitely gimmicky, but it's still gory.
I like gimmicky. Gimmicky can be fun.
Yeah. But I think the next 2 came out in the same year, which was different.
Well, at this point, they seem to be going way down, sliding way down the budget slope, it seems like.
Okay, quick questions. From the main character, Joseph from part 5 and Trevor from part 6, who was the better actor?
I would... Hang on. Joseph was the main character from part 5?
The cop, yeah.
I would think... Gosh... Without watching them right next to each other, I'm not sure. I think maybe Joseph was better.
Okay.
Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know them both from other TV shows. Yeah. So in those, they do fine. But in this, they just seem like overplayed actors.
Maybe it's bad direction. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the director screwing it up.
I feel like the part 5 was a better film. Although I hear people say if part 5 had come afterwards, I wouldn't have that opinion. And I could never know that. But I really felt like part 5 was a better film.
It's hard for me to say. I'm not sure. I did enjoy this movie. I think I was interested. Like, it kept me guessing with all the different versions of reality and stuff like that. But at the same time, somebody online said it didn't seem to really have as much of a steady sense of progress toward the end, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
it did seem like it was just just kept throwing realities at you, and it kept kind of playing the same games with you through the whole movie. Like I said, nothing's really that shocking,
right?
Because it's like, okay, we get it, it's not real, everything is going to be crazy. I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was interesting to watch, and it kept me interested. And the ending was fun. I liked the surprise ending.
I feel like Pinhead had more screen time on this one, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned with that. As long as you're giving me something interesting to chew on and something that excites my imagination. But
right,
and it felt epic. Like by the end of the movie, I felt like I had watched an epic unfold.
Sure,
which is the correct vibe, I think, for Hellraiser.
And I know on first watch I was like, there was no Kirsty. But on second watch, I felt like there was.
There was.
And I enjoyed the small parts that she was in. It's fascinating that they got her to do some sex scenes when she wouldn't do a shower scene for them in the second movie.
Right. And that kind of dovetails with the fact that the character, Kirsty, is doing darker stuff in this movie, right? Like maybe just as the actress is being corrupted, so is the character.
Yeah, could be.
Over time. That would be kind of a neat way to interpret it. I'm not going to claim it's as good as the previous ones. I didn't hate it.
Right.
But they could do better. They
sure.
Give us a little bit more of the slasher stuff.
Well, I hope you like the next one. I think it has an uptick on the writing and the story.
Good.
It has an actress from Sliders, which I know I loved growing up. So.
Okay, well, I look forward to checking it out.
All right, cool.
Oh, one last point.
Sure.
This is silly, but the main character's name is Trevor Gooden.
Okay.
Does that remind you of anything?
Trevor Gooden.
The main antagonist in Aeon Flux is Trevor Goodchild.
Oh, sure. That's been a long time.
I have to wonder if that was some unconscious, like if they had...
Could be.
There was an Aeon Flux fan who
it's possible.
was involved in making that script.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you, listeners, for listening. We have new episodes every Monday. Hope you listen to us next time. Please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. Bye.
Bye-bye.